Hello everyone to episode number, I don't know anymore, because that's yet another interview that we are doing today in the podcast with a very interesting name in the world of presentations with 356 Labs. As I said, today we have yet another guest. And before I say anything about her and why we really wanted her to come and join us on this podcast, I would throw the ball to her, because you will be kind of shocked when you hear that podcast and how we actually met.
All right.
Can you pick that up without even introducing yourself? Can you pick from there and just kind of elaborate on how we met in first place? Because that is kind of a shocker. At least it was for me.
So I'm having this really nice glass of wine in a vegetarian restaurant and having sort of a breather. When I decided...
By the way, do you remember the name of the restaurant? Because we need to promote that.
Oh,
that
yes, we need. It's Samsara Food House.
Samsara, indeed. Samsara. Damn, I didn't know that you know the name. So Samsara was the name indeed, and it is in Cluj-Napoca in Romania.
Yes. Oh, you're a bit better to pronounce the name of the city that is in the heart of Transylvania. Cluj-Napoca, yes, indeed. Samsara Vegetarian Food House.
Yeah, it is insane. That place is,
oh
my God.
Beautiful. It is absolutely stunning. So
they sold us so much food, by the way. It is that is, oh my God. Like, they sold us on so much food. It was insane.
Well, that's what a good restaurant does, and that's what a good presentation does as well, right?
By the way, that's true. That is true. So Samsara?
Samsara restaurant, a really nice sort of evening out. I'm taking a breather and decide to forego all the invitations that I've got after this conference that I was attending, and decided to just have a glass of wine by myself in this lovely restaurant that has this fantastic terrace outside in Cluj-Napoca in Transylvania.
Yeah.
And then I decide to take a break and go inside the restaurant and go to the bar. When I enter the restaurant, I look at this guy that sits at the table and I say, wait a second. I know this guy. And I said, well, that's what a confident presenter does. You know, it doesn't shy away. And I go to him and say, are you Boris? And he looks up at me with his really wide open eyes and said, have we met? I said, no, we didn't.
That's true. I was completely shocked that someone knew me in Cluj.
Exactly. And to me, I was in Cluj for 2 days. I live in Asia. I was in Cluj for just 2 days. I was invited at being a guest lecturer at the university. And then I was attending this conference. So I really, as well, I was not, living in the city or anything else. And he's looking at me with his wide open eyes and asking, have we met? And I said, no, we in fact did not. So I sort of extend my hand to introduce myself. I say, I'm Verineia. And Boris says, naturally, I'm Boris. And I said, I know. And we both start laughing. Yes. And then he's asking me, where do you know me from? I said, well, I actually seen your poster that you were doing this really cool presentation and we are sort of in the same industry. And then he said, oh, really, are we? And I said, are you here with somebody? I said, no, I'm actually, in fact, taking a pause and having a glass of wine by myself. Do you want to join? I said, absolutely. So from there on, we dived into this awesome conversation with back and forth in the world of presentations, in the world of what we do, and see so many similarities in what we do. And we connected right away, and we decided to do this podcast. It took us quite a while to get there, but we are here, Boris, tonight.
We are making it, like, it's happening. It is
Absolutely.
It is happening.
It's because of you. You kept it, like I'm hopping all around the world from Asia back to Europe to Scandinavia, back to Asia. And you made it happen because you really sort of kept me on track and said, okay, these are the options, let's do it. So you're amazing.
Yeah, I keep track. I'm like really onto tracking, but I'll share you a tip on that one. But I'm really on tracking and I'm kind of, let's put it this way. I'm really disciplined in terms of tasks and deadlines. I know that people sometimes hate me because of that, but I really am. And that being said, I promise to share a tip. Since recently, I'm using the app that Microsoft released like a year ago or something. They bought that app that's called Wunderlist.
Yeah.
And then they renamed it to Microsoft To Do. And that thing, not only you have the apps for iPhone, Android, whatever, not only you have it on your PC, whatever, but it also synchronizes with Outlook. And once you mark an email with a flag, the red flags, once you mark it, it also shows up in your to-do. And now I just feel so much in control of everything that happens around me. There is no way for me to forget anything. I mean, if you haven't tried this yet already, try it out. It will keep you constantly aware of what's happening. What do you need to follow up on? All of your tasks are in the to-do, and all of the emails that you, for some reason, decided to monitor and follow up on are also there. It is beautiful engineering, as some people say. It is beautiful.
That is fantastic. No, I haven't tried it, and I really thank you for this tip, because I always look for ways to optimize my schedule and my tasks.
Same. Try it out. It is beautiful, and it is one of those apps, even though that's not related to presentations, but that's how presenters organize their time.
100%.
It is one of those apps that is, I would call, the new Microsoft, right? It is so slick, it is so modern, it is so simple. It's just a beautiful small app that's so powerful if you know how to use it and you integrate it all around your day-to-day activities and job. It's hands down, I would highly recommend it.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I will definitely look into it. Thank you.
Yeah. So now that we know the story, that it was a complete shocker of how we met, at least for me, and because of the fact that that I have some problems with pronouncing your family name, why don't you give us a brief info or a brief intro about who you are and what you do? Right. Together with your name, though. That's an important one.
Let's start with that. And thank you for this, not sort of butchering my name. And that is actually a very good thing that you did right there. Even when introducing a speaker on stage, when you are 100% not sure, you would rather let that person, and this is very smart of you as well, to let that person rather than, butchering their name. So my name is Verineia Codrean, and I have been a public speaking coach for about 5 years now. I have my own consulting company that is based in Hong Kong, but we work cross borders. We have a lot of countries in Asia, but as well as we're extending in Europe as well, specifically in the Nordic countries.
Okay. Push the name.
Yes. So
what's the name?
Of my company or myself?
Yeah, of course.
Speech Architects is the name of my company.
Speech Architects. Okay. Don't be afraid.
No, I'm not.
Cool thing.
I thought that you want to ask something.
No. I just wanted to make sure that the name of the company is public now. Okay. Speech Architects.
Yes, it is. Okay. Speech Architects. And that's what it is. It all started from a really awesome accident, as well as our meeting. And since then, I was working on in the PR side of a wine company, and I was doing all the time presentations. And one time I was doing a presentation for a really big company, and it ended up with really being a big challenge from the audience that was trying to sort of undermine with some funny comments or some, with no bad intentions though, but they are all people from 50 years old up, and they were just wondering, who is this girl, trying to teach us something. And the way I handled the audience made the CEO, the global CEO, approach me and say, you know what, we've had presentations for 3 days from professionals around the world. I have never seen during these 3 days the audience eating from your palm. Like they did, from the palm of the trainer, as they did from yours. How do you do it? So that was the beginning of me realizing that presentation skills are really important, regardless the field that you are in. Regardless, what you are talking about, it's absolutely crucial. And that's
something that many people need to hear. And they're still underestimating it. But I don't know whether or not you're seeing it, but I believe that slowly but steadily things are changing. I mean, slowly but steadily, they are changing, and people are, again, slowly but steadily understanding that, hey, wait a minute, I cannot be just a tech person. I cannot be just a financial person. I need to be able to communicate effectively. Let's go.
100%. And that's thanks to people like you, that are helping the industry along with, with people like me. So I think the change is coming, because some people see some amazing presentations and then they go to the speaker and say, oh, it was a fantastic presentation. How do you do it? And then suddenly the speaker says, well, I've had coaching. And that's when this aha moment or the bulb comes in. wait a second, I can get coaching for becoming a better presenter. And there are people that are doing presentations all their life. This is all their career is about. And they've never thought about getting coaching because they think that they can do it and they can't.
Yeah. Okay, so you said that you work globally with clients from every industry, more or less you can imagine. So that being said, what are the top mistakes that you see people do when they're about to deliver a presentation or when they're about to prepare for a presentation? Like top 3 mistakes.
Right. So one of the easiest one is, it also goes without saying, but it's for people maybe like you and I, but it goes almost without saying that in order to have a powerful presentation, you need to hook your audience from the beginning. From moment zero. You don't have the luxury of, coming on the stage in this like really like slow pace and hoping that, the audience is going to see and pay attention the moment you start. You need to start talking from your body language, from the energy that you bring in. You need to start the same way as an actor. And that is thanks to my acting classes that I did. You are entering the role of who you are on that stage from behind the stage. You don't become that character when you are already on the stage. You become it right before you go on the stage. And that is the same with presentations. So you start your presentation even before you go up on that stage. The energy level, the presence, the stamina, it starts from way the beginning. And then what you say first is very important. So many people are starting with, I'm so happy to be here, or, how is everybody doing today? And that is not bad to say, but when you really want to up your game, this is one of the first mistakes that I aim to correct. You need to start with a bang, with a powerful bang, something that is going to hook your audience and say, damn, I need better to close off my phone and listen, because this is going to be a hell of a good presentation.
Yeah.
So that is
number 1. But that is so sad. Like people, you are now completely crushing the dreams and completely crushing the how can I say it, the thoughts of people who are presenting for 5 to 10 minutes their biography to their audiences, and they believe that is very, very interesting and very, very powerful.
You know what? It is interesting if you actually made me interested in you. Because if you don't give me at the beginning something that sort of counts for me, or something that is important, something that is going to help me, I don't really care who you are. So that's why a lot of people, when they start exactly what you said with this very long biography and all the list of their titles that are absolutely irrelevant, because in the end of the day, nobody cares who you are unless you are Steve Jobs or you are Elon Musk or anything along those names. And the interesting thing, you know what? The more important the person is, the less the title will be. So you don't need to say Elon Musk from Tesla and from SpaceX and from this, and CEO of this and CEO. You just say the name and everybody knows who you are. The more titles you add to your name, the less important you feel, at least, that you are. So you need to sort of validate yourself with all these titles.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so I even question the fact, for example, I always believed that, because I think you have received that question at least a few times before. Correct me if I'm wrong, but many people are, at least in our trainings, are asking, hey, why is Elon Musk, or why is Steve Jobs, why was Steve Jobs breaking the breaking rules of public speaking, like they're going on stage with their hands in their pockets? And I'm like, you know why? Well, because there are some people who have, as I like to say, extraordinary authority, and those people can break the rules. And even if they break the rules, you still listen, because they have something that we don't. Let's call ourselves the normal people, just for the sake of the conversation. These people have something that we don't have, and what I think that is authority in an extreme, just an extreme scale, right? And that's why they can do whatever they like, as they do, by the way. So even the guy that runs Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, Steve Jobs before, like those guys were going with flip-flops on the stage, and everyone was like completely fine with it. I'm like, you do understand why they can allow themselves to do that, because they are X, Y, and Z. we, for now, are not those people. So for now, let's just stick to some basic rules for now. Then with time, we're going to kind of change, adapt, think about it again, see whether or not we can fine-tune something. But for now, we stick to this plan, and they are completely okay to stick with their plan. And again, it's just because of that extraordinary amount of authority and credibility they have in the eyes of their audiences.
100%. And
so what else?
Yes. I'll only complete before going to the second point. I'll only complete as well with one more thing. I say in my trainings that you only are allowed the luxury of being boring if you are Elon Musk, because Elon Musk, again, in his style of presentations, he's not really the most exciting type of speaker. But he has this luxury because he is who he is, and he is breaking the rules successfully.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Yeah. Perfect.
So what else?
Number one. Second. Yeah, that was the number one. The number two, it's a very counterintuitive one, but it's a very interesting one. Okay. A lot of people don't realize actually that the tone and the pitch of the voice is very important. Okay. I've seen actually, and I work with some people, and I really want to sort of come from something that you don't really hear in every Google search that what are the best tips for public speaking, because you can Google some of those that are very well known. So that's why I want to give something that our audience may benefit of without Googling it or actually not finding it in their Google search. Why am I saying that this is important? Because no matter how exciting you are, for instance, no matter how fantastic your presentation is, if your voice doesn't command a presence, an important presence, your pitch doesn't reflect that, it is not going to be taken as a powerful presentation. And actually, sometimes before we work with some clients, not everybody, of course, but with some clients, before working about the storyline, about what is the message of their talk, outlining, memorizing it, rehearsing it, and all the shabam, we work on the voice. And sometimes when you have a very squeaky voice, females sometimes encounter this more than men, but there are men as well, don't realize this. But one person even came to us and said, you know what? I even received a promotion after I did the exercises that you gave me to lower my voice. And that is also something that, maybe you heard of Elizabeth Holmes, the infamous story of Theranos and when she, this blood test company. So she actually forced her voice to be several tones lower. And I'm not, I'm not talking about the ethical part of her company or anything else, but
there was a movie for her, I believe.
Oh, yes, exactly. Yeah, a really cool movie. Absolutely. But actually, in order to gain credibility, because she did a lot of pitching and she talked to a lot of investors, and because she was a woman, she needed to gain more credibility. And in the presentations that she did, she was coached to lower her voice, and that gained her an extra credit of credibility. And a lot of times when we have this very important message, unfortunately, and not something that the audience really wants to do it on a conscious level, subconsciously, when we hear a high-pitched tone voice, we tend to sort of see from a less credible source somebody who speaks in a higher pitched voice. So this is one of the things. It doesn't have to be really something dramatic, but if you as a presenter realize that you do have a high pitched voice, it will be very beneficial to you and to your presentations to work on lowering the tone of your voice. So that is the second tip.
That was an interesting one. Okay. And an unusual one. So
it is an unusual one because, as I said, one of the interesting, they did actually a lot of experiments, and we don't realize, but our voice, when we hear it ourselves, because the way our bones are in our head structure around our brain are making the sound of our voice lower than actually is. So only when you record yourself, that's why a lot of people say, oh, I don't like my voice when I recorded it. Yeah. That is because that is their real voice, and they are not used to hearing this voice, which for the entire life, they thought that they have this voice, and suddenly on the recording, they hear it's a completely different voice.
Yeah.
And that's why this is an important one and a crucial one, especially if it's for somebody that has a problem in that regard. So,
and nowadays it's not that hard to record yourself, right?
It's not. But you'll be surprised how many people still are anxious in doing that because they realize at some point that, wait a second, my voice is not the one that I thought I have it. So it's quite a shocker. And a crucial thing for some people when they change it to improve their presentations.
Okay, number 3.
Number 3, the last one, yes. So this is something that it will take more confidence and practice perhaps to do it on a smaller audiences, but I definitely believe in this one to benefit presentations, no matter how serious they are, it's including humor. And a lot of people are thinking that this is saying a joke or, like making fun of something or not, which is not.
Okay.
Sometimes it's really important, especially when you have a very heavy loaded subject, to add some humor to it. It is very, very important. It not only makes the subject more human, so to speak, because at the end of the day, even if I'm starting with the scientists from Greenpeace that are studying the climate change and are studying some these disastrous consequences that we have, and they're coming with all this data, even that, and if you looked in some of the speeches of Barack Obama, for instance, even he, as a president, in some of his speeches, will include an element of humor. And this is very, very important because sometimes we tend, especially if the topic is very serious, we tend to take ourselves way too serious. And that unfortunately puts some weight on the audience as well. It makes sometimes, it depends on the audience, of course, but it makes them not to be as open if they'd like to ask questions or maybe take the action that you'd like them to take. So it's really, of course, depending on the topic, but I would always recommend at least at the beginning or at the end, if the topic really doesn't permit in it, like in the core of the presentation, like to include a funny image or to include something, like a remark that is tied up to one of the slides, if you do use slides. Or to one of the points that you want to make. If not, at least at the beginning or at the end, do include one element of humor. This is very important, and a lot of people are uncomfortable with this. But there were so many beautiful examples from head of states to, like scientists that are studying from cancer research to topics that are really, really heavy, to include this element because it really makes the audience pay more attention. Humor helps us to diffuse the situation, helps us to relax our brain and to be also more receptive. It's actually scientifically proven that when you laugh, your receptors, the way you receive information, it's much more prone to be more open to whatever comes next after the joke. So that is one more reason, if you will, to include and to try your best to add some humor to your next presentation.
Yeah, and we also like people who make us laugh.
Absolutely. We do like them.
Yeah, definitely. So, great 3 tips, by the way. 2 of them completely for the people, for the audience who is going to be listening to this. It is no secret, or at least it won't be after I'm saying this. After I say this, we haven't scripted this out whatsoever. Like, we haven't prepared whatsoever, which is not a good thing, by the way. Let's just put it here. But we haven't scripted anything out, so everything that you're hearing is just we discussing some things around presentations, and you can hear how interesting things come out of this conversation. At least for me, I don't know, hopefully for everyone who is going to be listening to that one. So one last question, because again, you're seeing a lot of things out there. How many people we talked about, and you mentioned the fact that people are slowly but steadily, right? They're starting to see that they may need help with their public speaking or with their presentations in general. From what you are seeing, how critical could a presentation be for the life of somebody or for the career of someone or for a whole organization? What have you seen? Like, how critical could that be?
Okay, so this is very interesting that you ask. And one of my favorite stories that comes right into the heart of the answer to this question is a story that goes back to 1928 when a certain scientist, Alexander Fleming, discovered penicillin. And it was the first antibiotic, which was something that could have changed actually the world and the consequences that went after that. However, because he was a notoriously bad communicator, he only put it in some really small medicine journal. So unfortunately, not many people knew about this kind of discovery. So what he did was actually discover some of the best, thing that could happen in that part. And only, unfortunately, after that, many people died in the Second World War. The production of penicillin was taken by some other scientists that could not develop it further because they didn't have, specifically didn't have funds. And only when the Americans sort of pumped some more funds, it came into fruition. So just think about it, from 1928, he discovered it. And only in 1944, there was enough penicillin available to treat every wounded soldier after the war, because it was, something that finally was giving attention and proper funding and proper, interest. So how much, and this is something huge, so many millions of people died because we didn't have a solution. So that going back to when you have an idea, when you have something that could be potentially a turning point in a specific industry, it's not important only to have the idea and just throw it out there hoping that somebody is going to pick it up, or hoping that somebody is going to invest or help with funds to bring it to life. It is really important, besides having this brilliant mind, it's really, really important to know how to present it, to know how to attract the attention to your idea. Don't be the Fleming guy that, just threw it out there and didn't believe in his invention. He didn't believe in his discovery. And it took almost 20 something years until it actually became a reality. And that goes, Boris, to the same thing for the promotions, because you may have good ideas, you may have like very good organizational skills, good project management skills. If you are not able to present your ideas in a well-structured way, this is not going to command the authority that you need to be promoted. And that, unfortunately, as sad as it is a reality for both men and women. It's not, gender biased in any way. So it is absolutely crucial. And we are living in a society with such a long list of challenges that need solving, problems like climate change, migration, digitalization, radicalization, unemployment, and so many others, that we need to work across disciplines and in a process of collaboration between policymakers, scientists, entrepreneurs, social organization, and even ordinary citizens that have to learn how to express their ideas, because sometimes all you need is a good idea presented. It's not enough to have an idea. It's important to know how to present it. And that is going to bring you all the rewards that you are going to reap off later. It could be in a week time, it could be in a year time, but it's really important to know how to powerfully present it and really attract the attention that you need to this idea for it to grow, be it to get promoted, to get funding, to get, somebody's support that you need for that. And that is why it's absolutely crucial, regardless of the industry, to know presentation skills.
Yeah, absolutely. Cannot agree with you more on that one. Hopefully more people will hear to that episode and just hear that message, because I really cannot agree with you more. Hopefully, indeed, more people will hear it, because I'm still shocked that there are so many people who are great professionals and experts in various fields just paying almost zero attention to how they communicate, which is so sad to see, because they are missing on so many opportunities, and so many doors can be opened for them so quickly if they were just able to communicate an idea in a powerful and effective way. It's just, sometimes it gets me mad and sad at the same time that they are not focusing and not spending 20% of their time just enriching their presentation skills, which will pay off just so badly in a positive way afterwards. Anyway.
Well, let me then turn it a little bit on a positive side and tell you a good example on this regard. So I've had a client that had this really brilliant idea that he has been developing for over 5 years. But all he needed was really good funding. And, whatever he would do, he was not getting anywhere with it. We eventually, by some beautiful accident as well, met, and we're able to provide him with training. And coincidentally enough, he got finally a meeting at one of the biggest companies in China that owns things starting from Cirque du Soleil or, Thomas Cook, the traveling agency. So they own a lot of real estate, like medical care, whatever you think of it. They own the football team in London. So whatever you can think of it, they are a really huge company. So this guy got a really good opportunity to speak to the CEO of the company. So what happened is he actually was told, okay, listen, so you are having 5 minutes. At this time, you have to be there and you're going to be able to pitch your idea. The guy goes there and unfortunately, or actually as much of the time it's happening, the guy got really stuck in the meetings and he said, I don't have 5 minutes. You have exactly 30 seconds the moment I leave this boardroom and I go to my car. And they were walking. The pressure was on because this guy was leaving and this was his window. But because we worked with him so well and he knew what he needed to cut from this 5 minutes presentation into 30 seconds, or it was like roughly 45, I think, maximum a minute, he knew how to present it being calm, being professional, being, like convincing and inspiring and excited about it. And he got like that moment, he said, you know what? It was the most powerful minute of my life that I have prepared for over 6 months. In terms of the training that we did with him. But actually, he has been working on this idea for 5 years. And he got the yes right before the guy got into the car. So honestly, this cliche thing, as people hear that 30 seconds elevator pitch, it's not a cliche. Sometimes you do have a one window of opportunity that you did not plan for. You don't have, the luxury of being told, okay, you'll be speaking on the stage at this date and this date. You have all the time in the world to prepare for it. Sometimes being a good presenter means to perform on the spot, Boris. And that takes months or years or whatever it is, or whatever you are in your journey. For some people longer, for some people shorter. And that takes preparation. Same like Picasso said when he was asked to, like a fan saw him in a restaurant at a terrace and he said, oh, can you draw me please something on a napkin? Picasso took a napkin and drew a dove and then said, this will be 20,000 euros. And the fan said, but this is outrageous. This is so much money. It took you literally 5 minutes to draw it. And he said, yes, but it took me 40 years to know how to draw like that. So it's the same. It takes a lot of preparation to be able to perform powerfully in those 30 seconds.
Yeah, I cannot agree with you more on that one either, because we just recently came back from Germany where we worked with SAP, the startup teams that are carefully selected, let's put it this way, by SAP, a company that I believe everyone at least have heard about. So the program is called SAP.io, and these guys select 6 to 8 startups on from a specific industry, and they mentor them, and at the end of the program they end with a demo day. So in that demo day, SAP actually invites 250, and I'm quoting here, carefully selected people from some of the biggest organizations of the planet, who are going to be in the audience, and the teams, each one of the teams has 3 to 4. No, I'm lying here. I believe 5 minutes or something like this to present in front of them. And because we did the training in 1 week and then the demo day was on the other week, we went back to Sofia and everyone just asked me, hey, are you coming back for a demo day? Are you coming back from demo day? And we're like, no, probably no, because we're now going back to Sofia and then we're flying back to Berlin again. Probably not. However, I decided to kind of surprise them and I went back on the next week.
Awesome.
So I just after I bought the ticket, I wrote them an email personally to each one of the founders, and I said, first of all, I'm coming, which means that if you don't prepare, I'll demolish you, meaning I'll kill you. And second point, please understand that you have once in a lifetime opportunity to present in front of those 250 people who are the vice president, the VPs of Daimler-Benz, the VP of Volkswagen Group, the VP of whatever. I told them in the email, and I can share the email afterwards, even though that's not kind of allowed, that I just said that people out there, including me, would kill to be on that stage, because who knows whether or not you will be able to present in front of those people in some point in your life, anytime, like in the future, like nobody knows. And some of the teams did incredible job, and immediately after their pitches ended, they were just everyone, every investor, every person, at least from what I heard and from what I was told, every important person in the audience immediately went to them to ask them for how they can do business, how they can invest with them, etc., etc. So that's why I told them, you guys deserved it. Like, you did the homework.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah, you did the homework, you did your homework, and now you are just extracting value out of it. Like you deserved it. Like you deserve everything that you just achieved for those 5 minutes, even though you have spent weeks and weeks preparing for that 5 minutes. However, the benefits are just cannot be measured. It is hard to be measured, as you said.
Boris, this is an amazing way to share how powerful 5 minutes can be, and not to waste them in presenting your titles and your names and your accomplishments.
Can you imagine us being allowed to speak in front of 250 people of that caliber?
I think we would kill it right from the get-go.
I would spend so much time preparing. It's just it is just unfair, and it's not because of something else, but because I would never miss an opportunity like that. I mean...
Oh my God, yes. And that, know what? The interesting thing is that you may prepare for 6 months, let's say. I'm just throwing a number there.
Yeah.
But the most interesting thing is that nobody would even know that this is rehearsed. Everything will be so smooth, so natural, so powerful that nobody would know that this was a 6 months preparation. So that's what I love. And I'm glad you said this. Because a lot of people think that because they're an expert in the field, all they can do is all they need to do is throw a PowerPoint presentation 30 minutes before the presentation and they are good to go because they have been working in this industry, 10 years, 5 years or whatever, and they are experts. Yes, but what they don't understand is that being an expert is not enough. Knowing that subject is not enough.
Yeah. I believe that if there is someone who is going to be listening to this one and you guys believe that the people who are in the presentation field and who are striving to be the best that they could be are not preparing and are not rehearsing their presentations and are not spending an ungodly amount of hours of work to deliver a accurate presentation, you guys are lost. Like you just are. To every listener that thinks that that's possible, even to people like us, we spend insane amount of time preparing.
And so are the best professionals. Look at the best actors that, won some of the biggest awards. Every new role, which would be in our world a new presentation, they are rehearsing it as it's day 1 or day 0 for them. They are not, laying on whatever awards they got in the past. Same with the head of states. Every speech is an opportunity to rehearse everything from first word that you are going to say to the last word. And you know everything by heart. You know where you are going to pause. You know where the audience is going to applaud. You know where you're going to, make something as a joke or the comment. Everything is rehearsed up to the beat, but it's going to sound so natural, so powerful that you are going to achieve the goal that you have for that presentation.
Okay, so I agree. It's very easy for me to agree with you on everything that you said. That's kind of strange.
It all started to be from that very interesting meeting that we had, and from there everything.
Again, what was the name? What was the name of the place?
Good God, Boris, your memory, Samsara.
Samsara.
You are terrible.
Jesus, that place is so good.
You have really some good parts and you have some bad parts as well. Thanks God you're not a god, you're human after all.
That's also true. I don't remember addresses and names of places. Like I'm really bad with those things. But I don't understand why I should remember them. Like why would you have TripAdvisor or Google's Maps or whatever. That's why you have technology nowadays. At least that's how I see it. Maybe I'm wrong, I don't know.
No, you're right. But if somebody memorizes it, just give them the pleasure to enjoy that they have a great memory, like I do.
That place. Let's end. By the way, I promised you that we are going to be aiming for 20 minutes. It's now 38. So let's try to wrap this up and say, if you are going to Cluj-Napoca in Romania, please go to Samsara and have
Oh my God, no!
there.
This is not please go. You must go.
Yeah,
Boris, we need to be honest here. You absolutely must go. So whoever is listening, guys, you absolutely must. And please don't
forget presentations, forget that podcast, forget everything else. The food that you are going to have in there is second to none. I mean, second to none.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Again, 39 minutes. Thank you very much for joining me after those months of preparation again. I believe it was really, at least for me, it was super cool to have you on the podcast and learning and just hearing the way that you approach things. Thank you very much for joining us. And hopefully we'll see each other soon, somewhere across the world. Who knows?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Boris. I really admire what you do, and I'm glad we met, and I'm glad we finally did it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, guys, that was it. I don't know which number of this episode will be, because I just don't know. We'll see. We'll see. So until the next episode, what should we advise? Until the next episode, how would you finish it? Until the next episode?
Until the next episode, keep strong and make your presentations even better.
That's a wrap. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys. Guys.